Okay. We were in Berachos. We're up to the 8th parak, Mishnah Dal, the 4th Mishnah. Oh, and today's learning should also be a schus for Yisrael Yosef ben Leah.
Amen.
Beis Shammai Amrim. So Beis Shammai say, Mechabdin Asabayis, you should first clean up the room where you ate, and only afterwards should you wash your hands after the meal. Because Beis Shammai is concerned that if you don't clean up the room till afterwards, there might be pieces of bread lying around, and when you wash your hands, they might get wet and ruined, and we don't want to ruin any significant pieces of bread. Beis Hillel says it's not a problem. You could wash your hands first, and then clean up the room, because Beis Hillel hold you have to have a servant who knows what he's doing, so he'll know to remove any large pieces of bread before, so that they shouldn't get ruined, so therefore there'd be nothing to worry about. Mishnah Hey, the 5th Mishnah. Beis Shammai say, if one has to both bench and make Havdalah, so the order of the brachas he would make are ner ubesamim. First he would make a bracha on the candle, then he would make a bracha on the spices. Ner umazain ubesamim Havdalah. First he would make a bracha on the candle, then he would make the bracha on the food, then he would bench. Then he would make the bracha on the basam, then he would make the bracha on the spices, and finally, the last bracha he would make would be the bracha of Havdalah from Ma'al B'Kodesh L'Chol. Beis Hillel has a slightly different order. He agrees that first is ner, and ubesamim umazin v'Havdalah. So he agrees that first is ner and last is Havdalah. Those in the Mishnah both agree that the bracha on the candle is going to come first, and the bracha Havdalah is going to come last, because you always want to push off ending Shabbos. He disagrees. He says you put the besamim together with the ner, and then you do benching after those two. Fine. Another machlekes related to Havdalah. Beis Shammai say the bracha you make on the candle is shebara ma'or ha'ish, that he created past tense the light singular of fire, because it's one candle, and you're thanking Hashem for the fact that fire is an original creation. Beis Hillel says you say what we say of Borei ma'orei ha'ish, a Borei of a present and past tense of creating. Ma'orei is plural light of fire, because Gemara explains, Beis Hillel say that there's many different colors in a flame, therefore you would make it the plural colors. Mishnah Vav. Ein mevarchin, you can't make a bracha lo al haner v'lo al basam shel avdei kechavim, not on a candle or on spices of non-Jews. So the rabbi recently went through this Mishnah actually between Mincha and Marv, but we'll do it here. So the problem with the candle of non-Jews is there's reason to assume that they may have lit it on Shabbos, because they're not Jewish. There's no reason why they wouldn't. And you can't use a candle that was lit on Shabbos in a forbidden manner for a Jew to light it, even if a guy was the one who was lighting it. So if a guy has a candle on Saturday night, the assumption would be that he lit it on Shabbos, and you would not be able to use it. And spices of Gayim were concerned that maybe there are incense that they're using for Avodah Zarah, so you can't make bracha on those. You can't use a candle or spices that are for a dead person. Problem with the candle is that candle is not lit for light. It's just an honorific sort of thing where you want to have a light, but it's not meant.
Is that like a yahrzeit candle?
Yeah, yahrzeit candle would be the same idea. It's not meant to provide light. It's just an honor thing that we want. We light a light. No one's using it to see anything. So that candle is not intended for the purpose of seeing, so you can't use it. And spices by a dead body are just to mask any odor of decompositions, not to add a pleasant smell, so you could not use those for besamim. Or if you have a candle or besamim actually in front of an idol, so those obviously are going to be forbidden to get a benefit from, because their purpose is for the idol. Okay, Mishnah Zayin, the 7th Mishnah. Misha Achal. If somebody ate, they forgot and they didn't bench and they left. Beis Shammai say, he must go back to the place where he ate and bench over there. he can't bench where he remembers. Beis Hillel, no, v'yivarach b'makom sheniskar, you could still bench as long as you where you remember. Ad emasayhu mavarich. So how long after you ate can you still bench? So the Mishnah gives the rule of ad kadeshi is achal hamazon sheb'meiv, the amount of time it takes for the food to be digested in his stomach, which generally is understood to be the amount of time which you're no longer hungry and you're still full from whatever you ate. If it's a big meal, we give the number of 72 minutes. In general, we give the number of 72 minutes, and if it's a bigger meal, it would be longer.
Halacha l'maisa, you need to go back?
You do not need to go back. It is always it's better to go back, but if it's too inconvenient or you're running out of time or whatever it is, you would bench where you are.
Yeah. I once forgot in Jerusalem, and I remembered, and they said, and I went back, and they said, if you could look and see where you davened, where you ate, that's
better. Okay.
Better. That's what they told me.
And let's do one more Mishnah. If they got wine, if wine shows up at the end of the meal, and you only have 1 cup of wine, so Beis Shammai say no problem. You can make a bracha on the wine and drink it. And you'll bench, and you won't have any wine for benching. It's okay. Beis Hillel no. Beis Hillel says no. You should save the cup of wine. That way you could bench on a cup of wine, and you'll make a hagafen afterwards, and you'll drink the wine after the meal. And then we have a statement thrown in over here that's not a machlekes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel as opposed to the rest of this parak. If you hear a Jew making a bracha, you could say amen even if you didn't hear the whole thing. You just catch the last few words. You hear him saying shahakol diabidvaro. You could say amen because it's clear that he's making a bracha. However, a kusi, who we're not so confident who they're praying to, you can't say amen to his bracha unless you hear the whole bracha. If you hear him say Baruch Atah Hashem, so then you know he's making a legitimate bracha. He's praying to Hashem, and you can answer amen. If you would only hear the end of the bracha, there would be concern that maybe he has some other intention in mind, and therefore you should not answer. Okay, we'll stop here.